Good morning, everyone. Let me speak into the mic here, too. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Bob Huff, and we are very appreciative that you take your time off on a Saturday morning to come here to spend the time with us talking about a very, very important issue. So I was going to say the video you just saw was the Act Against Hate Alliance's kickoff event at State Capitol in August of last year. You just have to take my word for it because you didn't see it. So welcome to Congressman Lou Correa, Senator Josh Newman, Don Wagner, the chairman of Orange County Board of Supervisors, and then we have 5th District Supervisor from Orange County, Katrina Foley, and then we have Irvine Mayor, Farrah Khan, Vice Mayor of Irvine, Tammy Kim, and then we have former councilman and the mayor of Diamondback, Steve Tai, and then we have Roosevelt. No, I was going to say assembly member as well. Sorry. Roosevelt, city council member and former mayor of Diamondback. And then we have the student leader, Aidan Chow. So thank you everyone for being here today. And I also like to thank the members of the media and members from the community. Peter Wei, why don't you find a seat and sit down here, please? Okay. So, hello, Sean. Just so you know, this is the very first live streaming event that we have done. Okay, so would you say at least the setup is very impressive?
Yes.
Very good. So we have Calorie to thank for providing this very impressive office. I'd like to thank Sean Wang and his team for setting up this place. Obviously, he's still trying to set up the sound system here, so I'm just gonna speak without a microphone. So, we are here today to commemorate the passage of Senate Concurrent Resolution 15, designating January 28th as Stand Against Hate Action Day in California in perpetuity. So, Senate Concurrent Resolution 15 was passed out of the Senate and the Assembly floor unanimously. And it is a testament of the state leadership coming together to make a resounding statement against hate crimes, which have devastated each and every person that calls California our home. So January 28th will be the day to reflect on actions that we can and must take in our daily lives to combat hate. With this resolution, California continues its mission to light a path to change, and the impact of Senate Concurrent Resolution 15 will be a global, reverberating one. Now, people think that Act Against Hate sounds really, really serious and violent. I guarantee you, what we do are not violent acts. They are acts of kindness. So, we must come together and stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters from all races and all walks of life. True?
Sure.
And we must build bridges of understanding and empathy that we can work together to create a more inclusive and just society for all. Sorry, losing my voice. So right now, it's time for me to bring up my partner in life, Senator Bob Huff.
So the video those of you that are here didn't see was the Fox News coverage of our Sacramento opening day, if you want to call it, back in August. So to put this in perspective, Mamie and I applied for a state library grant, and we got that money in the first part of August, and so by August 17th we arranged for a press conference up there I sent out to some of the legislators, and one of the first to respond was Senator Josh Newman, who replaced me in the 29th Senate District. Thank you, Josh, for that. But it didn't just end there. We had a cross-section of both parties up there. And by the way, you know, the news will always tell you when we disagree, and that's on the headlines, but the reality is 80–90% of the time we're focusing on the issues that are important to our constituents. That doesn't get covered. But this was one of those issues. So we showed up, it's a hot, windy, muggy day, and we're on a timeline to get this banner set up. It didn't fit through that tube at the top. And so, you know, we borrowed some flexi-cuffs from the local highway patrol that was providing safety, cut some holes, made it happen. This happened to be a new banner. But Senator Newman stepped up. He was there early, half an hour early, helped me in the wind and heat and everything to set that up, and then made some comments. So later in the fall, we sat down with Josh and talked a little bit more about this, and he was receptive to the idea of carrying a resolution declaring January 28th the Stand Against Hate Action Day. He did that. It passed through both houses without any opposition, and that's what brings us here today. So let me read a little bit about Senator Newman. As I said, he's at the 29th Senate District, which is comprised of portions of LA, Orange, San Bernardino County. He is the chair of the Senate's Committee on Education. I was the vice chair. You know, Republicans can only be vice chair. Yeah, well, you know. And that's good for the district because in education happens to be one of the top. Education and transportation are both two key issues. Senator Newman addresses both of those. He also serves on the Senate committees on Budget and Fiscal Review, Budget Subcommittee 5 on Corrections, Public Safety, Judiciary, Labor, and Transportation. Couldn't they put anything else in there? Oh, elections. Elections separate. Elections, energy, utilities, and communications, and transportation. So Senator Newman is a former United States Army officer, business person, veterans advocate, lives in Fullerton with his wife and daughter. It's with enormous gratitude that we welcome Senator Josh Newman, whose sponsorship of SCR 15 is one example among many of his leadership, vision, and support for stopping hate and improving lives for everybody in our great state. Senator Newman.
Thank you. This is really on again. So thank you for that kind introduction. And it's a pleasure to be here with everybody, but also especially a privilege to be doing work with Bob Huff, my predecessor, and May. So I'm Josh Newman. As Senator Huff mentioned, I have the privilege of representing the 29th Senate District, which includes parts of LA, Orange County, San Bernardino County, one of the most diverse districts in the state with one of the highest proportions of AAPI citizens. As the Senator mentioned, this past August, I had the privilege of joining Bob and May in the launch of the Act Against Hate Alliance in Sacramento. And in January, I was very proud to author the Senate concurrent resolution commemorating Stand Against Hate Action Day, which, as he mentioned, passed the state Senate by unanimous vote, and has since been passed by the Assembly by unanimous vote as well. And so it's my pleasure to join Bob and May and all of you here today to commemorate some of the work that they've done in the 6 months since then to lead in acting against hate here in California. As everyone here is well aware, it's a disconcerting fact that over the past few years, our state, and in fact the nation at large, has been consistently roiled by what can only be described as a rising tide of hate. First, misinformation around the COVID-19 pandemic, the recent rise of white nationalism, and if we're honest, our nation's long and troubled history of discrimination have combined to produce some of the highest hate crime rates in California that have been seen in decades. Let me give you some statistics. According to a 2021 report from the Attorney General's office, since 2012, the number of reported hate crimes in California has increased by about 90%. Now, if we drill down a little on those numbers, the numbers get even more disconcerting. Anti-transgender and gender nonconforming hate crimes have risen by 221%. Anti-Semitic hate crimes have increased by 67%. And this is the really staggering statistic. Anti-Asian hate crimes have risen by an unfathomable 974% in only 11 years. So these numbers should trouble all of us. Hate and hateful acts should have no place in California. They alter the course of a victim's life, endanger the public safety, and attack the very notion of what it means to be an American. So it's imperative that we respond to hate with a multifaceted approach that promotes public education on prevention, intervention, and supportive services for victims. And so thanks to the efforts of my colleagues in the legislative AAPI legislative caucus, California is set to invest over $165 million over the next 3 years for a number of very important programs that will help California address the root causes of racism and hate. The funding will provide $110 million for victim services, interracial and multicultural dialogue, and bystander education. And perhaps most importantly, funding that will expand anti-bias education within California's schools. If we hope to make any meaningful progress in addressing this rise in hate, it's essential that we are starting within our schools and within our communities. And that's why I'd like to commend Bob and Bob Huff for their leadership on this effort. The Act Against Hate Alliance is playing a critical role in incorporating student groups and leaders into this very important initiative. Welcome, Aiden Shaw. I'm glad that you are here and part of this, and for hosting a variety of educational roundtables and expert panels which highlight how brave local leaders across California are working to create a more tolerant and diverse society. In bringing students, policymakers, law enforcement, and experts together, the Act Against Hate Alliance is playing a very important role in equipping our communities with the strategy, skills, and best practices needed to ensure that California continues to be a safe, welcoming, and inclusive place for all of us. So proud to stand with the Huffs, proud to work with all of my colleagues here, and grateful to be part of this event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I'm standing in for Senator Bob Huff. And next, I would like to bring up Congressman Lou Correa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank you for being here today. And Josh, thank you for carrying this resolution against hate. I don't serve in the California legislature, rather I serve in U.S. Congress. I think it's safe to say that we're all patriots. We all love this country, what it stands for, and what it is.
Can you love the mic too?
Mr. Leader, anything you say? If you think about who America is, and you think about what Josh just said about educating our society against hate, I would say educate society about who we are. I sit on a committee called Homeland Security in Washington, D.C. One of my major jobs is addressing the refugee challenge, the refugee opportunities that we have in this great country. It's opportunities. 150 years ago, we saw a massive wave of immigrants coming to America, primarily from Europe. You saw the Albert Einsteins of the world come to this country. Recently, the Andy Groves of the world come to this country, to the state, help make it the greatest place in the world. Today, we see a different set of immigrants coming from Latin America, from Asia. But are they new? Asians have been coming to this country for a couple of 100 years. We just haven't focused on that. Or rather, we forgot. Latinos have been part of this country for 200, 300 years. Although we're only 250 years old. We forget the facts. And if we forget the facts, we forget who we are and why this country is the greatest country in the world. It's a nation that today, even today, despite the debates, despite the rhetoric, I can call it rhetoric, you still have the best and brightest being attracted to this country. I can't share with you a lot of information that I look at on a top secret basis, but I can tell you, a lot of those refugees coming today to this country, you would be surprised at the talent, the intellect, and what they are ready to contribute to this great society. I'm a patriot, and each and every one of us is also a patriot. We want to make sure people keep coming to this country, keep contributing to this great experiment that's created the greatest nation in the world. Fight hate. Fight hate, and you will keep America as the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Congressman. Our next speaker is Chair of the Orange County Board of Supervisors, Don Wagner.
I guess I have to use the microphone though, like the congressman, I rarely have trouble being heard. Let me take just a second to say how glad I am to be here and to add the voice with my good colleague, Supervisor Foley, the voice of the county to the effort to stand against hate. You heard the statistics from Senator Newman and some of the passion from Congressman Correa. Let me just add that we recognize in this county the importance of the resolution that Senator Newman brought, but more importantly, the resolution all of us collectively have to stand against hate, wherever it shows up, in whatever form it shows up. What we've got here today is truly an extraordinary collection. You've got not just voices from every different level of government, and not just some of us like myself, like Congressman Correa, who've been involved in this community for quite some time, but we also have the students here, the next generation of leadership coming up, and all of us, Republican, Democrat, experienced at this, new to this, all of us recognize the importance of standing against hate. Why? Some of the passion came from Congressman Correa. Let me put it in different terms that I think of and frankly live out. Hate, racism, division, it's stupid. If you don't recognize that there is somebody of a different race, of a different gender, of a different ethnicity and background, who is smarter than you, who is better looking than you, who is more talented than you aren't paying attention. And the opposite is true as well. Why? Because at the end of this, it's all one race, the human race. And we need to remember that. Politics in America right now is very divisive. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's some rhetoric coming out of our leaders. Maybe there are a whole lot of different reasons, economic concerns. At the end of the day, though, I like to think about one particular word that comes out of the Pledge of Allegiance. In my role, I am sometimes honored to be asked to lead the pledge. The one word I like to focus on is right after that sometimes contentious phrase, under God. It's the word indivisible. This nation grew great by assimilating those who came to these shores for a new and a better life. And as long as we remain indivisible, we remain strong. Let's not give that up. Let's not divide. Let's rally around Senator Newman's resolution and the sentiments expressed here today and remain indivisible as together we stand against hate.
Our next speaker is Supervisor Katrina Fuller.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Katrina Foley. I am the county supervisor representing the 5th District, and the 5th District is filled with beautiful different cultures, and it's such a diverse community. I have really enjoyed getting to know all about the residents and their celebrations and their activities that celebrate their culture. Thank you, Senator Newman, for always being courageous and bold and doing the right thing, passing SCR 15 and declaring January 28th as Stand Against Hate Action Day. But I think every day should be Stand Against Hate Action Day. I mean, we really need to make a commitment as a community that we will stand against hate. And thank you, Senator Huff and May for your tireless advocacy to show that diversity and inclusion, it makes us a better, stronger community. Hate hurts us all. We in Orange County have an unprecedented amount of hate incidents that we are documenting. Unfortunately, since the pandemic, we have seen a 5,000%, I don't even know how you calculate 5,000% increase in Asian hate in our community. Our beautiful, diverse community that has so many Asian cultures in it, and we're seeing a 5,000% increase in hate here. Hate hurts us all. Over the 5 years, our Orange County Human Relations Commission has been documenting the incidents of hate in Orange County. And what we're showing is that we have overall, as to all incidents of hate, 165% increase in hate in Orange County. That is unacceptable. We are showing that in California, while there's a 61% increase over the last 5 years, in Orange County, this is not an above average number that we are proud of. 73% increase. So we are above the state average in terms of hate incidents. And in addition to our Asian friends who are subject to hate incidents at 5,000% increase, our LGBTQ plus friends are also experiencing hate incidents at 2,100% increase. In our Black community, 525% increase. And fortunately, we're seeing lower numbers, but still too much hate against anti-Semitic hate at 26%. And we see an increase in hate against our Latino friends 2 times the numbers over the last 5 years. So in all categories, we are seeing an increase in hate. So what do we do about it? As a county board, the Orange County Board of Supervisors is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being here. In our support of our Human Relations Council, we contributed $1 million to invest in investigations of hate incidents, in outreach and education. We are expanding the in-language capabilities for our staff to be able to assist with hate incidents. We are improving victim assistance, and we're trying to raise awareness through our Hate Hurts Us All campaign. Because hate truly does hurt us all. I mean, when I just look around this room at the diversity of individuals who are all here today to share a common value that we want our community to be unified and to be inclusive, this lifts us up. And so we all need to come together. As a call to action for individuals, I call on you. If you see hate, say something. For too long, we sit back and someone says something inappropriate that you feel you all cringe, but you don't say anything because you want to be polite. Well, it's impolite to be hateful. So please say something. I call on you to check yourself. Check your own implicit biases and do more to educate yourself about the different beautiful cultures that are here in Orange County and throughout our beautiful golden state of California. Commit yourself to sharing diversity and to supporting our diverse communities. As a community, what can you do to root out hate? You can, again, as a community organization, as an employer, as a nonprofit, as a government agency, reject hateful comments, reject hateful incidents, reject hate in your workplaces. As a 26-year employee rights attorney, I spent my career fighting against discrimination and retaliation based on race, gender, and all the other protected classes. And so hate is real and it hurts people. It causes them deep emotional pain. It causes them to be unable to work, unable to care for their family members, and it causes people to question the very essence of who they are. And so I urge you to reject hate at all costs. I just want to share a story. At the Board of Supervisors, we've seen this firsthand in our meetings where people come to the podium and they think it's okay to attack our Supervisor Doe, who immigrated here and is living the American dream from when he immigrated here from Vietnam. And they attack him. They call him a communist. They tell him to go back to China. I mean, this is just outrageous. And we stand with him and against him, and we have stood up to that. At our Board of Supervisors meetings, we've heard from people coming who are against the vaccine and who thought that it was comparable to the Holocaust. We stood up against that hateful rhetoric. I encourage you to do what you can to spread values of diversity and stand against hate. And as elected officials, you know, hate hurts us all. And we all need to stand together, and we need to pass resolutions. We need to set policies. We need to hire diverse individuals to work in our offices so that they reflect the people that we're serving in the community. And so keep dialoguing, keep these conversations going. I'm privileged to be able to be here, and I encourage you all to speak up and stand against hate. And again, thank you, Senator Newman.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Foley. We're located today in the beautiful city of Irvine, and it's my pleasure to introduce next Irvine's Mayor, Farrah Khan.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm Mayor Farrah Khan with the City of Irvine, and first of all, I just want to thank Senator Huff, May, Senator Newman for making sure that we, in the state of California, recognize that hate is an issue and that action must be taken. You know, I'll go over a few statistics before I delve into what's actually happening here in Orange County and Irvine. And I want you to understand that in 2022, in Irvine, we saw more hate crimes versus hate incidents. And a majority of them were targeted towards our Black community and our API community. And that went both for the hate crimes and the hate incidents. On the UCI campus, we saw an increase in race incidents, hateful race incidents. But in the last 3 months of 2023, we had more reported incidents based on race and a few based on religion. So it's not stopping. The hate crimes, the hate incidents are not stopping, and we need to do more to make sure that we stop it once and for all. For us in the city, we decided to create an online reporting portal through our Irvine Police Department. And that portal included people being able to submit pictures and videos reporting incidents that they underwent in 7 different languages. Even with making it more accessible, we're seeing underreporting of incidents. And that's a target that we need to meet as well. How do we get our community members to feel comfortable, safe, to report what they're going through? As you heard from the supervisor before, we're seeing tremendous amounts of increases when it comes to hate-related issues. And that's still with those that still don't report it. So what can we do? I know in our city, we decided to hold a session with our Orange County Human Relations Commission to teach people how to not be bystanders, but be upstanders. How do you step in safely and protect those that are victims of hate crimes and hate incidents? We need to do more when it comes to taking action. We passed resolutions, and I know many other cities did as well as the county. But today is all about our next steps. What steps are we going to take to protect the most vulnerable in our communities? And for me, I'm here to say that I'm committed to make sure that we do everything that we can to protect our communities. And that's working with our county, our state, and our federal representatives. Making sure that we're taking every opportunity to speak up and to teach others to speak up and take the necessary actions so that the world understands that hate will not be tolerated. In Irvine, we faced hate in so many different forms, including myself, who was targeted by white supremacists. They hung banners over our freeways with my name on it. And that is another reason why I am fully committed to stand up and make sure that no one, absolutely no one, feels unsafe in our city. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker is Vice Mayor of Irvine, Tammy Kim.
Thank you. Welcome to Irvine. Thank you, Senator Newman, Senator Huff, May, and for all the elected officials coming out here today to this great city of Irvine. Hate really does have a lasting effect on our communities. And I come here not only as the Vice Mayor for the city of Irvine, but also as the leader of a nonprofit organization serving the API community here in Orange County and in Irvine. Racial trauma affects all of us. As Katrina Foley, Supervisor Foley shared, we talk about mental health, we talk about the impact that it has on our community. So it's not just isolated to an individual. And as Mayor Khan shared, the hate is not going away. We have had a tremendous amount of increase as it relates to hate crimes and hate incidents, especially in the city of Irvine. I'm proud that we established the very first hate crime, hate incident portal in multiple languages because it was necessary for our own police to understand what was happening in our own communities. We cannot outsource data collection. And so we've seen this, but it's not being reported enough. We also, in 2021, introduced an anti-Asian hate resolution, which passed, confirming that we as a city of Irvine would stand against anti-Asian hate. Last year, I hosted a roundtable with various API nonprofit organizations with Attorney General Rob Bonta to talk about what was happening. And just last week, I hosted Congresswoman Judy Chu to talk about the release of the murderer of Kenny Chu. The killer was released, but the family was not notified. And so we met with the DA's office. It was a brutal anti-Asian hate crime that had occurred, resulting in Kenny's Law that was passed by then Assemblywoman Judy Chu. And so we talk about all these things in terms of what is actually getting better. And the silver lining in all of this is the fact that as an Asian American community, our voices are now being lifted up. Where we have great elected leaders, such as everyone here in the room, who are doing all they can and are saying like they will stand up against hate. And so thank you so much, Senator Newman, for all that you do. But we have to remember that as much as we do as elected officials, we cannot policy our way out of hate. Hate can only be eradicated through proper education, which is why I've been an advocate and proponent for Asian American studies and ethnic studies in the California state curriculum. And we also have to remember that there is an intersection between hate and racism and misogyny. And we also have to fight against, as Asian Americans, our perpetual foreigner status. And as Supervisor Foley described, Andrew Doe being attacked, whether it's me being less of an American, people coming to the chambers. These are all the things that we collectively need to stand up against. We need to use our voice, and we need to say, this is not acceptable. We're going to stand with our Asian American elected officials and not make them feel that they're a foreigner, and they should be grateful to be American. And so, again, I leave you here today with those words, and again, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Our next speaker is Diamond Bar former mayor and current city councilman Steve Tye, who, just in case you don't know where Diamond Bar is, it's over the county line, you know, just on the other side, but just as important as anything in Orange County.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. You know, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really encouraged that the Senate of California and the Assembly of California came together on an issue that they all agree on. And you realize this is not a Democrat issue, and this is not a Republican issue. This is a human rights issue. And I agree with Supervisor Foley that it seems a little silly to me that we're going to choose a day out of 365 that we're going to stand together against hate. We got to be doing that every single day, every opportunity that we have. And I think of, in my mind's eye, I see this sweet little old lady walking down the street in San Francisco and being barreled over by somebody for God only knows what reason that person would choose to do that. And what bothers me the most about it is certainly that happened, but that somebody's there with their phone. Somebody's there with a cell phone, taking a picture of it, looking at her sitting on the sidewalk, and I'm thinking, isn't anybody going to do anything? And now we have the opportunity every January 28th to do something. Shouldn't be limited to that, but we have the opportunity to say, we don't accept this. My colleague from Diamond Bar, Councilmember Ruth Lowe, will attest to the fact that every meeting, when we're talking about public safety, I remind our residents, if you see something, say something. And I would alter that to say, if you see something like happened in San Francisco, do something. Put your phone down and do something. Chase that guy, help her up, do something. Let's all agree that we will do something about this scourge that when people do it, and it's not addressed, and these days, certainly in Los Angeles County, I don't think you would be arrested for it. So perhaps we should take it into our own hands and say, that's not acceptable. Don't do it. We like to say in Diamond Bar, if you're going to do that, if you're going to steal something, don't do it in Diamond Bar, because we will catch you. Now, what the district attorney does is a different story, but we do have to stand together, and we do have to address it and say, enough is enough. We're at a point where we are. You're right, Chairman Wagner, that it's a divisive time. It's a divisive. We're living in divisive times. That's not a reason to step back and go, well, golly, it's just the way it is. Do something about it. And Senator, again, with a Democrat, Senator Newman, thank you very, very much. Thank you, former Senator Huff, for doing this and taking action. Here we all are on a Saturday saying, we agree, let's do something about it. Thanks very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Our next speaker is Aiden Chow, a student leader in high school, and I'm sure you'll be impressed with him as we have been too. Come on up, Aiden.
Well, I want to thank you all. I'm very encouraged by the fiercely bipartisan crowd that we see in the room today. We've got Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and everything in between. And I'm very happy to see that we've got elected officials, like all of you here, standing up for what we believe is right. We've got a set of values in this country, in this county, in LA County where I'm from, and even in our school, where my vice presidents Caitlin and Matthew go with me. And those values are ones of unity, of respect, of inclusion, of all races, genders, and beliefs, and of dialogue. It's all about respecting each other, being open to each other, and being able to voice opinions in this nation. This American experiment was built on everybody being able to voice their opinions, and in the end, creating a system where those opposed to each other can still stand together and unite under our flag, under our country, and under our God. And so that's why I'm so proud to introduce the next generation of student leaders. Between myself and my vice presidents, we have created the inaugural chapter of Act Against Hate Alliance's student division in high schools, which we seek to branch out across the country, or across the state. What we would like to do is work with our local elected officials, work with our communities, and work with our schools to expand dialogue and action about hate. This is an issue that impacts us no matter our age, and that is why it is so critical for us to address it no matter where we are in life. Though we don't have the power to vote, we still have the power to impact. We still have the power to address this issue in our communities and in the ways we can. Which is why I'm so proud to be working with many city councils, especially where I'm from, in the San Gabriel Valley, along with our students, to introduce resolutions codifying January 28th as Stand Against Hate Action Day. I want to thank Senator Newman and the Assembly of California of passing this on a statewide level. Now we want to do it in every single city, as I believe it is critical to introduce this kind of action in every single city by itself. And that is why I'm so proud to be working with our students on this effort, as we are the future of the United States. Without students and without future leaders, it's going to be a hard fight to make this country one of the best, and one of the best that it'll ever be. And we're shaping the future by acting now. And that is why, no matter if we're Republicans or if we're Democrats, we must act against what divides us, the rhetoric that divides us, and stand for what unites us. So I want to thank everybody, and God bless the United States.
Thank you, Ed. And I skipped over, I apologize, Benjamin Yu, a council member from Lake Forest, is with us. Benjamin, like to say a few words?
First of all, I want to thank Senator Bob Huff. You know, we got to know each other many years ago when we formed a community against the ICA-5, which is affirmative action. As an American, as an immigrant, as a very first elected official, was born in mainland China and grew up in three major liberal states, New York, Washington, California. I understand what this means here and what we stand for. And what we need is united. We stand. At the end of the day, we cannot legislate ourselves out of hate, but we can show the community we stand together as one American. Today, I think Senator Josh Newman for his legislature that show we really care, but there's more work to come. We need to continue work together to bring the community together, show we are the people, we are the one. At the end of the day, it's not Republican, not Democrat, not independent, but we are the one person, church, the same value, every way life to wrong. And again, really glad to see so many community members here to stand together. And as a city council member, newly elected Lake Forest City Council, one of the very first Asian Americans, I just proposed, we add to our city legislative platform regarding the opposition against ICA affirmative action, as well as propose the Asian American Month for May, because I believe the representation, the perspective matters, and I hope more Asian Americans participate in this arena. like the leadership we see here, to advance our common values. Thank you so much for the opportunity here, and thank you again for Senator Bob Huff's invitation.
And congratulations, that's democracy in action. He got pulled in by something that irritated him, now he's making decisions that are irritating other people. It's all good. The next person that wants to speak is not with us in person, so I'm not sure how this is all going to work, but please roll the video. David Chan is a sophomore at UC Berkeley, Cal, and I believe he lives in Yorba Linda.
As our culture rapidly changes and develops over time, it's important for us to remember that if we empower the younger generation and start this movement that Senator Bob Huff and May Huff are launching, this is how we begin to deteriorate the cultural and targeted hatred little by little over time as we cultivate a generation that works to truly coalesce our diverse communities across the entire United States. As our culture rapidly changes and develops over time, it's important for us to remember that if we empower the younger generation and start this movement that Senator Bob Huff and May Huff are launching, this is how we begin to deteriorate the cultural and targeted hatred little by little over time as we cultivate a generation that works to truly coalesce our diverse communities across the entire United States. As our culture rapidly changes and develops over time, it's important for us to remember. As our culture rapidly changes and develops over time, it's important for us to remember that if we empower the younger generation and start this movement that Senator Bob Huff and May Huff are launching, this is how we begin to deteriorate the cultural and targeted hatred little by...
It won't be too long.
Let me give everyone an instruction here. Don't leave yet, okay? Because we will take at least one group photos and also maybe individually as well. And then maybe some of the media will like to interview you, and we can go into the other room where we can conduct the media interview, okay? And after that, you're free to go to the cafeteria area. We'll have lunch there.
Before we disperse, though, let me just make a few closing comments. First of all, I appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to acknowledge this. The whole intent behind SCR 15 was not just to recognize hate, we already do that, is to take action. That's why it's a Stand Against Hate Action Day. And it is our hope that people will find something to do themselves. You know, what can you do? This last year, I read in a book by Dr. Martin Luther King, and his perspective 50 years ago was just amazing, and yet, you know, he paid the ultimate price for his views. We have to be willing to do that as well. But we want you to not only do something, but then to tell a friend. Post it on social media. Start this little grass fire of opposition to hate. If you see something, say something. Interestingly, Orange County, we had deputy DA on that said, you know, proving intent is the difference between a hate incident and a hate crime. And there's a lot of hate crimes that go unprosecuted because they can't prove the intent or they don't think they can make the case. LA County's taken it a step further, and they record and catalog all hate incidences as well as crimes. So that gives a more comprehensive view of what's happening. But everything we see, no matter which metric, and there's all kinds of metrics out there, but I think we can all agree it's out of control and we have to do something. So again, thank you for being here today. And it's really good to see such a cross-section of leadership representing everybody here. You know, we'll not accept hate because hate is unacceptable. We will do our part, inspired by January 28th by SCR 15 to stand against hate, and we will not stop. We will not be silenced until hate crimes are stopped and hate itself is silenced. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Evelyn, come in here. How can we forget Senator Newman?
We all look right here.
Of course.
I know what you're doing, man. You're going to be able to pop me out.
后面我才知道，居然是4个小时一变。我的心反应摆动。东北有一次啊，他们随便在我们那个找了一个直播码就火。都是在频道里面，在 Facebook 上面都有，到他们那个相当于几十样才能找到。你是游戏网吗？
要 interview 他们个人吗 ？Do you want to have an interview with elected officials? 是吗？ Okay.